Hi there, sports fans. This is Playitright TV, and this is Kinito Hanson filling in for the indisposed Dayan Castilla. So we're going to go solo in this episode, and it's going to be one-on-one with none other than Gilas head coach Chot Reyes. Welcome back home, Coach Chot.
Hi, Kinito. Good to be back home. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now let's get into it. Let's talk about Gilas. An update on what happened in Europe. You guys went to Estonia. You guys went to Lithuania. Your overall record was 3-3 in tune-up games. But of course, we're not looking at the final scores. We're looking at the kind of lessons we learned in that European trip. Tell us what our players learned from that experience.
Well, we had very specific goals going into Europe. Remember, the first was we wanted to get into shape because remember, a lot of our players, no, not a lot, all of our bigs, all five of our bigs, Junmar, Japet, AJ Edu, Poy Eram, and even Ange Kwame are all coming off injuries. So our number one priority was to get players into playing shape, but not only into shape, but into playing shape. And I think the difference from day one to the last day is leaps and bounds. So I think we were able to achieve. We're far from being in competitive peak form, but at least we were able to achieve getting into playing shape in Europe. That's number one. Number two, we wanted to assimilate, especially the new guys. Renz Abando and AJ Edu and a lot of the other guys who haven't been with us for a long time. Into not only playing the way we want to play, but also to learn how to play with each other. And definitely we experienced that. We started the series with 23 turnovers in game one, and then we slowly cut it down to a very manageable level by the time we got to game six. And even the level and the kind of play was markedly different. And finally, we wanted to learn. We wanted to learn how to defend and score against these European teams. The European style of offense where the pace is very, very quick, and there is action after action after action. You cannot defend just one action. You have to defend a back screen and then a staggered screen and then a ball screen in one offensive possession.
Yeah.
And you have to do that at a very high pace against players who are taller and bigger than you. So we really wanted to get a taste of that because that's what we're going to face in the World Cup. And we don't really get that in the PBA or even the players in Japan or Korea. They say they don't, the players they play there are more or less the same size as they are. So we had to go to Europe to experience, to really take the players outside their comfort zones. And I think we were able to achieve that as well.
Well, Coach Chot, talking about the opposition in your tune-up games, I was looking at some of the players. In the Lithuanian team that's going to play in the World University Games, their age range of players, these are not college players. They're anywhere from 18 to 27 years old. And I saw the top scorer, Arnas, is 6'5", 26 years old. This guy is a Lithuanian senior national player.
Yes.
And you went up against them in that game against the Universiad team. And then when you play the Lithuanian Pro Select, they had 4 players who are, these guys are flat out senior veterans.
Yes.
Thomas has played in Macedonia, Estonia, Iceland, Slovakia, and Lithuania as an import. And you went up against some of these guys who are grizzled veterans. Do you think that in spite of the fact that we went up against that tough opposition, we were competitive?
Very much so. To be very honest, at the start, we were not. In both the Estonia and Finland games, we were down big. Even in the first Lithuanian game, our fifth game, it was, I think, a 17-1 right away. Because, like I said, this is a different experience for our players. But the good news is we were able to adjust and we were able to climb back into the game in all of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So, and finally, in what we thought was going to be our most difficult game in the sixth game we played. It's a very misleading term. It's a world university team, but like you said, they're not students. They're pro players, and
Yeah.
they had 4 6'9" guys, 1 6'11", a couple of 6'6", 6'8" guys. They were very tall and they were very experienced. But by the time we were already very well versed with each other, with what we wanted to do, and this was the complete reverse naman. We stayed with them from the start, and then we were able to pull away towards the end. We had a great third quarter where I think we held them to only 10 points. So the game we played from game one to game six, the improvement was tremendous. But we're still far from where we want to be.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Kinito. But
Mhm.
I thought that the experience was very invaluable for and if you ask the players themselves, I think they will say the same thing.
Coach Chot, how frustrated are you when you named a 21-man pool and then a day or two after it came down to 20 when Carl Tamayo begged off? And then when you went to Europe, you only had 14 players. 12 actually left the Philippines with you. And then Ange Kwame came late because he wanted to attend his graduation, which is, I think, a very noble thing. And then Justin Brownlee came here from the States. He was coming off a 1 week mandatory rest from a medical procedure. So how frustrating were you? How frustrating was it for you, Coach Chot, when you went to Europe hoping to be able to get as many pool players as possible, and then you wind up with only 12 and then later 14? Oftana had to stay behind. Pogoy had to stay behind. Parks had to stay behind. Jordan Heading is still rehabbing in the US. What's going on? And are you disheartened?
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, Kinito, and I've already learned that these things happen. To be very honest, when we named that 21-man pool, I was really looking at a 15 to 16-man contingent going to Lithuania.
Mhm.
So when we ended up with 14, it wasn't so bad for me. But that's the reason for the pool. That's the reason why we name a pool in the first place. And I know some people want us to name already the final 14 or the final 15, but these things happen. Injuries are a part of the process, and not only injuries, there's different circumstances. Some players, we have to respect their decisions, right? Maybe they don't want to go through the rigors of going through all that and not having a guaranteed slot. We respect those things, right? So I know that's part of the process. So at this point, there's no more time to feel frustrated. We plan, we put contingencies in our plan, and then we move forward. We move forward with the buffers that we have built in. And if you take a look at all of the things that we're doing, we're making sure that we always have a backup. We always have a buffer along the way, because like I said, I've been here so long. I know that the original plans, what do they say, the best laid plans of
Right.
mice and men, something will always come up, right? So uh, we're like I said, there's no time to be frustrated na.
Well, from an observer's point of view, Coach Shot, one of the big lessons that we might have learned in this Europe trip is that guys have to be ready to step up. I mean, who would have thought that Scotty Thompson could only play 1 out of the 6 tune-up games, and then Dwight Ramos, our leading scorer outside of Justin Brownlee, of course, and JMF, who's, by the way, played splendidly. I mean,
Yeah.
Dwight Ramos couldn't play the last game. And in the second to the last game, he played only 3 minutes. And Boy Aram didn't even play the last game. So all of these things that were happening while you were there must have been very tough. But you had Malonzo stepping in when the others couldn't play, when Dwight Ramos couldn't play. Malonzo stepped in. He had big games in the last 2 tune-ups. Coach Shot, was that a big lesson that guys have to be ready to step up? Because when you see your teammate go down, you've got to be ready to fill in.
Like I always say, you really have to put a big value on presence. And I mean,
Yeah, presence.
some guys the one guy might be better than the other guy, but if he's not here, what use do I is that guy, right?
Yeah,
You'd rather have the guy who's present, who's always there, right? So
right.
that's very, very important, and I keep pounding that to the players. I mean, 50% of success in life is in showing up. It doesn't
Yeah,
automatically guarantee success, but for sure, if you're not present, then you have no chance, right? So I think that's number one. And the one of the important things that Coach Tim and I and Coach Jong, the coaching staff, we were always striking this balance between practicing hard, working hard, and always being afraid, being careful about injuries. But in the end, if we don't go hard, we're not going to be prepared anyway. So
yeah,
that's always a fine line, and uh, people didn't see. I mean, we were there for 16 days. We had 22 practices, countless weight sessions, not to mention our road work, not to mention our team development, late night sessions, and then the 6 games on top of those, all of those sessions. So it was a very, very difficult mentally, physically, and emotionally for the players. Made them we really made subjected them through very trying conditions because we wanted to build resilience. We wanted to find out who are the players, obviously, who are good inside the basketball court, but who also had that internal fortitude that I feel is going to be very, very important when we get to the World Cup, right? So, these are the things you'll never get, no matter how long you practice, you get that in, when you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner together,
yeah.
when you are, every day you're walking to the gym, or you're waking up at 4 in the morning to do a 5 a.m. road work, or you're before practice you're going to lift weights, and it's what, 11 degrees, it's really
Yeah.
very cold, but still you're pushing, and you're going to see the guys who are really committed. So these are the things, and when you do that, there will really be injuries. And so Poi didn't play the last game because his knee swelled up after all of the work that we did on top of the 5 kilometer road work. So and then his knee swelled up, so we sat him for that last game. And then Dwight, in the 5th game, went up for a rebound to block a shot, and Poi was also, both of them went up to block it, because these guys, our opponents, were going hard. So and we were going hard as well. And we were crashing to the floor. We were diving for loose balls. Poi fell on Dwight's leg, and that's what caused the injury. And some happened in practice. In Newsom, crashed knee to knee with Abando in practice, because we were going hard in practice as well.
Mhm.
And then
And
same
Scotty,
thing
of
with
course.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Junmar, Scotty's hand collided with Junmar's elbow in practice. So these are the things that happen when you are preparing and doing more than one session a day work.
That-
But one session a day is not going to get it done for what we
yeah.
need to accomplish in the World Cup.
Well, just talk about the bigs. Okay, JMF had a spectacular ending. He had 28 points, 14 out of 15 free throws in that last game. And you could see from when he started to how he finished, you could see a big, big improvement in his game. What about AJ Edu? Didn't get to play at all in the tune-ups. Is he still going to be a part of this pool? Is he going to be perhaps a candidate for our final 12?
Yes, but he has to be able to get in shape quickly. Uh, Hopefully, these last few days he was rehabbing and then practicing in Manila. He has to be able to play in China
Yeah.
in our tune-up games. That's going to be, I think, the final test for AJ. But yes, we really are looking forward for him to be part of the team. I mean, he's fighting for a slot just like everybody else. But the bigs are really working hard. You talked about Junmar, and what people don't see, even when we are doing two a day, just the two of them going on extra work, sprints, and running, and that's why you saw how much his game improved as he got into game shape, as he got his timing back. But the most important improvement that we got from Junmar really was his defense.
His
He
defense?
defended very, very well. Yes, his defense, especially in the last couple of games, and that was a cause of concern for us. If Junmar has the ability to get out on shooters, to get out and defend the stretch fives and stretch bigs of the other
Yes.
team, I think we're showing definite improvement in that.
Well, Junmar, the first three games of the
Yeah,
tune-ups,
you
he
lost.
averaged 7.3 points. In the last three, he averaged 16.7. So you can see just on the offensive numbers, he had a great improvement. But Coach Chot, just let's talk about the guys who are still coming over. First, Jordan Heading. He's rehabbing in the States. He's got a bad back. Is he still going to be able to report to training camp? Secondly, Kai Soto. And thirdly, when is Jordan Clarkson coming on board?
I really don't know about Jordan Heading. I know we've reached out to him.
Mm-hmm.
He said he has an issue with his back. But at this point, Kinito, we can't worry about who's not here, diba?
Yeah.
We're going to resume practice tomorrow. I know Ray Parks and Pogoy and Calvin Oftana are going to attend to rejoin our practice. Kai, our agreement is right after summer league. So
Mm-hmm.
if they end on the 16th or 17th, then we're looking forward for him to be here on the 18th or the 19th. As for Jordan Clarkson, where we continue to talk with Team Clarkson, and we want him to at least be able to join us to be able to practice with us and join us for the China tune-up games. Because if not, I think it's going to be pretty difficult, right? So we continue to talk now, and like I said, we really hope that he can come here earlier, hopefully by the end of the month, if possible, by the last week of this month, if possible.
What about possible additions to the pool? And you referred me to team manager Butch Antonio, who, concerning the deadline, when to submit a lineup of a pool of players from which to choose the final 12 to FIBA. And Butch Antonio said a week before the tournament starts, that's when we will submit the pool. So at this point, we can still expand the pool as you see fit. I spoke with the commissioner of the PBA, Willie Marshall. He said PBA is open. If you need any players, coaches, even utility guys, PBA is 100% supporting Gilas in this endeavor. So my question is, are you open to enlisting some more PBA players, especially the ones who are doing extremely well in the PBA on tour? Arvin Tolentino, Troy Rosario, Kevin Alas. I mean, I can name a lot of guys. There's one school of thought saying, why don't we put together a group of 12 top performers from the PBA on tour, put them together in a scrimmage team, and have them play tune-ups on a regular basis with Gilas? Is that, and then maybe all of the 12 can be placed in the pool, and whoever will excel may be considered for the final 12. Is that a viable option, Coach Shot?
No, I think that's going to be a very difficult proposition because
Okay.
remember, if we add additional names to the pool, then we have to go back again and teach them again everything that because like
Right.
I said, we've already had 22 practices in Lithuania.
Yes.
So even if you've been with us in the past, that's still so much for you to catch up on and to learn. And that's number one. So the second thing is the chemistry, the bond, the teammanship that was built in those 16 games is, and I think the best to ask are the players themselves, not me,
Mhm.
on how strong the bond that was built in those 16 days. And it's going to be very, very difficult to, we don't want to alter that too much. But having said that, it's where we've always been open. We've always been open. In fact, we just had a meeting with Chairman Ricky Vargas and Governor Al Francis Chua yesterday. We met for lunch with SBP President Al Panlilio, Tim Cone, and Butch Antonio to discuss all of these options. And then even before leaving for Europe, we already were toying with the idea of putting up a select team. Remember, with US basketball, they also did that, right? They have a
Mhm.
select team that normally scrimmages against the regular team, and we also were. That's also part of our plans. So yeah, if that's possible, we'd certainly welcome it, because we need to continue playing competitive games against serious and tough competition. So having a select team playing against the current team is certainly an option. Um, and adding additional players is, I'm will never say no, but
Mhm.
at this point we want to take a look first at this, because like I said, we're building something here, and we have what, 2 weeks before China, and we don't want to keep stepping back, and then moving forward, and we're never going to be at the level where we want to be if we keep doing that, right? So that's the reason why, for the resumption of practice, we have called in only those who were injured when we left for Europe: Ray, Roger, and Calvin. For
Mhm.
now,
What about Scotty Thompson? Is he going to be okay for China as well as Dwight Ramos?
we already got the results from Dwight's MRI today, and the reading of our team doctor is there doesn't seem to be any structural damage. So pending official final word from the attending radiologist, it appears, knock on wood, Dwight is okay.
Okay.
However, we all know Scotty is it's a fractured has a fractured metacarpal bone. We still are waiting from the hand specialist how long it's gonna take. It's going to go anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Obviously, at 6 weeks, that's going to be impossible for Scotty to make it. But according to Tim and according to Scotty himself, he's a fast healer. Uh, he feels confident he'll be ready in 4 weeks. If that's the case, then obviously his slot is wide open for him, because Scott is one of our team leaders.
Mhm.
He's really a player that everybody on the team looks up to, and not having him is going to be a very big blow. But like I said, we have made preparations and contingencies for this, so we move forward.
Okay, well, Coach Chot, before we let you go, we'd like to ask you a little bit more about the China trip that's upcoming, August 2 to 6. Is it Iran, Lebanon, and Senegal? Are those the teams that we're going to be playing against in China? And how do you think this is this going to be the culmination of our training, or this will still be just a part of the continuing process of getting to be battle ready?
No, after that, we're still looking at a couple more games to be played
Mhm.
here in Manila against teams that are going to be here early. The final week, a week before our first game. So we're looking at playing hopefully on the 18th, 19th, 20th, or thereabouts. That will be the final preparation before opening on the 25th. So China, the way we're planning it and programming it, is the penultimate. And the objective really is to get Kai and Jordan into the scheme of things. We need to be able to get them into the team, because when we get back from China, we won't get back till August 7. That's going to leave us barely 2 weeks. 2 weeks left before
Mhm.
our first game, right? So that's really cutting it very, very close. So that's how we're looking at it.
And when we play in China, would you play just one naturalized player at every game? In other words, if you play Brownlee, Kwame doesn't play. If you play Kwame, Brownlee doesn't play. If Clarkson is there, Brownlee and Kwame don't play. Is that the situation?
Yes, that's how the way we're looking at it. That's how I wanted it to be in especially if Kai is there.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we played Kai in Europe is because we wanted to simulate him. We played Ange in Europe was because we wanted to simulate having Kai with us.
Oh, okay. So
So
that's
Ange
the role that he was playing.
was Kai, and then can we Japet playing the four spot, or Jamie and Justin playing with him. So that's why we played Kai in Europe. But that's why we played Ange in Europe. But if Kai is with us in China, then we're not gonna play Ange in China anymore.
Well, a lot of things in your plate, Coach Chot, and the whole country is excitedly supporting you. You know that there's a big challenge in front of us, big responsibility on your shoulders, but please also realize that the whole country is behind you in this effort. Um, I asked you earlier if you felt frustrated because of the injuries that are happening, but it's very reassuring to hear directly from you that while it may be a frustrating and exasperating situation, you're not disheartened. In fact, you're encouraged because this is an opportunity for players to step up and show that playing for the country is a priority for all of us.
Yes, and I just wanted to. I'm glad you brought that up, because I know a lot of our friends in media have been asking me and sending me messages and asking questions, and I've had very difficult time replying because my plate is really, really full. So we've decided just making regular updates through the SBP website, and hopefully you all understand, because we're there's so many moving parts behind the scenes. Even today, yesterday, like I said, we were meetings the whole day, because the preparation never stops, even if we're not in practice. Everything else, the talking, the planning, the meetings, the everything else. So I hope everybody continues to understand and continues to support us.
Well, thanks very much again, Coach Chot, for gracing our show, Playitright TV. All the best to you, the best of luck. Our prayers are with you. And, well, from now until the World Cup, there's about just 40 days left. We're all excited about the coming World Cup. You led the Philippines to its first World Cup victory in over 30 years in Spain. And we're hoping, Coach Shot, that you bring us back to the position of glory in the world basketball. And with that, we want to thank you again, Coach Shot. And thank you for always spending time with Playitright TV. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Shot. Well, that's it in this very exclusive one-on-one episode with Coach Chot Reyes. You heard it straight from Coach Chot. The injuries, the updates, what's going on with Kai Soto, Jordan Clarkson, Jordan Heading, the injuries of Dwight Ramos, Scotty Thompson, everything fresh, right straight from head coach Chot Reyes. And you heard it first and only on Playitright TV. And with that, we want to thank you again for staying with us, for following us. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell button so that you always get notified every time we have new episodes, new videos, new insights to share with you. Thanks very much. This is again Kinito Henson in behalf of Diane Castillo saying thanks very much. Play it right all the time. Thank you.